Free of their shackles and prison, the group break into the chest they stole and rummage through official prison paperwork, maps, and a suspiciously sealed letter. The letter? A government document welcoming a remote village into the Empire? Then, music echoed from the mountains. Not good music, creepy, hypnotic, feather-filled music. As they approached a foggy tunnel, they find the tracks blocked by some broken trees. Coming to stop, they were ambushed by singing dive-bombing harpies. Half the party failed their wisdom saves and started zombie walking toward the musical death sirens. Burr, entranced. Never gonna give you up. Arya. That's not even the right song. A brutal battle ensued. Torvin transformed into his werewolf hybrid form, clawing and slashing with necrotic fury. Maybe wolf rage doesn't mix with crossbows because he misses his target, hitting Arya right in the spine. Ouch. That's going to leave a mark. Shalangelo summoned wild magic, blinding a harpy with radiant lightning from his chest like a turtle Iron Man. Arya threw insults like daggers, but magical ones. Burr sneak attacked with a cleaver like a chef gone rogue. They finally downed the harpies and promptly cooked them for dinner. Yes, they ate the harpies. That's the kind of party we're dealing with. After lighting fires, clearing the tracks of aggressive stick monsters disguised as logs, and nearly setting the train tracks themselves on fire, they made it through the tunnel. Time to rest. Burr passed out in the cart, Shalangelo curled into his shell, Arya cleaned everyone with prestidigitation, poop-free since Tunnel 3, and Torvin took first watch. They camped in the cold, foggy forest where glowing lights drifted through the sky. More music, more whispers. Chanting in Draconic floated from the mountains. Translation? Roughly. You refused the dragon's gift, now get ready to die in fire. Comforting. Once rested, they followed a path to a walled village straight out of a fantasy dating sim. Lanterns in the sky, flower girls, townsfolk screaming with joy at their arrival. A prophecy was being fulfilled. Elder elf. I knew this day would come. Rose petals. Backwards walking greeters. Statues of dragons. A giant feast laid out. They weren't just visitors, they were the chosen ones of the love festival. Burr. Immediately left the feast and started wrecking the heart-carving station, while Arya used her siren song to make his heart smell like flowers. Villagers. He's perfect. Meanwhile, Arya cast illusion magic to make the dragon statue exhale smoke, sending the village into prophetic ecstasy. Shalangelo politely asked for a great axe to participate in the heart-carving contest, and somehow received one. Torvin tried his best, but maybe a longsword wasn't the best choice. And well, Arya's heart just wasn't into it, no pun instead, as she made use of her new daggers. Winners received cheers and admiration. Everyone else got, well, still a free dinner. Then came the choir. The same song from the tunnel echoed through a mountainside temple. The villagers led them into an ornate chamber with flower girls, murals, and a mysterious mechanism. From the floor, rising with steam and glowing coal, emerged a large pulsing egg, likely a dragon egg. The villagers chanted. The heat rose. The tension soared. Burr, probably thinking, can I eat it? The mood was light, the food was free, and the prophecy felt mostly fulfilled. That's when the elder, smiling far too kindly, announced the true prize for Burr's winning heart. You, Great Carver, have earned a first pick of a snuggle companion in the sacred love huts. There was silence. The party stared, unsure if they heard that right. Maybe the elder had explained it poorly. Maybe all the food had made them too sleepy to notice. Or maybe this village was just very committed to community bonding. Burr, ever the romantic bugbear, lit up with joy. Yes! He declared, dreaming of a kobold harem worthy of his carving skills. He was handed one single female kobold. His face fell slightly, but a win was a win. He took her hand with the pride of a man who'd earned a trophy, even if it was smaller than expected. Torvin, on the other hand, had standards. He wanted the strongest woman available. A slapping contest was held between two contenders. The winner. A woman with the face of a pig and the hands of a goddamn lumberjack. Torvin nodded with respect. You're the one. They disappeared into their assigned hut. Arya, visibly uncomfortable, scanned the lineup like someone browsing the clearance rack of doom. She sighed and chose the least ugly man there, if only to avoid a diplomatic incident. But when the door closed, she leaned in, sang a soft magical lullaby. Sleep. He collapsed onto the floor, snoring peacefully. Arya sat by the window, arms crossed. Standards? Shalangelo, seeing the woman Torvin rejected sobbing on the ground, did what any turtle would do. He pitied her, and with full shell-induced panic, pointed at her and said, "You! I choose you." The moment she smiled and took his hand, he regretted everything. In the love huts, Burr and Torvin were thrilled. No questions asked. Arya opened the hut door and stepped out, only to hear Shalangelo trying to invent turtle mating rituals on the fly. In my culture, we mate by touching foreheads. The woman was not convinced. She was, in fact, starting to edge toward the door. With a sigh, and maybe just a flicker of fondness, Arya leaned in and cast the same lullaby on Shalangelo's hutmate. She blinked, yawned, collapsed into blissful unconsciousness. Arya, coldly to Shalangelo, "You owe me one," Arya said flatly, then left. That was not a favour. That was a warning. The villagers began packing up. The flower girls left. Guards? They were staying to protect the egg, because clearly these four could not be trusted with sacred reptile embryos. Then came the heartbreak. Burr tried to kidnap his assigned flower girl, his self-declared mate. The guards weren't having it. She pulled away. He reached. They intervened. A tense moment followed. Burr, "You'll see me again, my destiny." Everyone else, "Oh no!" Shalangelo, channeling his inner therapist, gently reminded everyone that maybe they were the danger the prophecy warned about. And maybe leaving was a good idea. The villagers agreed and handed them pre-packed adventure bags, because even fantasy NPCs know when it's time to eject the chaotic guests. Before they left, a final ceremony was held. The villagers sang. Girls not chosen for mating rites wandered solemnly around the Dragon Egg Temple. Arya asked for a nice outfit and was handed a blue tunic and white pants. Burr was given a silk mankini, regrettably. A final prayer, a final swirl of petals. The egg shimmered once more. The elder thanked them for coming. "You fulfilled the prophecy, or maybe started the wrong one." Probably both. Then, out of nowhere, a familiar tune, not the choir, not the lute, the rhino's music. A horn in the distance. Prison guards. The past was catching up. The party was shoved through the front gates, out into the snowy, forested mountain path with their new supplies, mixed feelings, and zero idea what to do next. Arya, "Well, that escalated." Shalangelo, "We're gonna die." Torvin, "Can I keep the loot?" Burr, "I miss her." Step 1. Set a trap. Reality. Burr rolled so poorly he tied a rope to a twig and prayed. Shalangelo suggested tactics. Arya sang about a golden-horned monster, alerting literally everyone in earshot. Torvin covered tracks like a true survivalist, only to be undone by the bard's impromptu concert. And then, the horn blew. The rhino was near, but this time, he wasn't alone. Enter the astral paladin and his little dog too. A radiant, floating, self-righteous projection of paladin energy showed up, hovering above the trees like a glowing moral compass with a superiority complex. Arya recognised him, the type of man she really hates, heroic, smug, and allergic to nuance. Remember that guard Arya spared before? Well, he was with them. After sneaking up, Arya charmed a nervous guard into helping with her words. She kissed him, called him my little mouse, then whispered, "Tell them we went that way." Shockingly, it worked. The boy fled with his pants nearly soaked in fear, convincing the others to search the wrong direction, but not for long. They were closing in. Step 2. Ambush. As the rhino separated from the others, the tainted meal from the night before kicked in the worst way as the group pounced while his pants were down. Sneak attacks, spells, curses and axes rained down. Burr hit like a freight train. Arya whispered psychic barbs. Torvin used his werewolf blood magic. Shalangelo hit and occasionally dropped his axe. It happens. Then came a highlight. Arya sang a mocking ballad about the rhino's shiny horn and literally damaged his psyche with how insulting it was. Despite their efforts, the rhino refused to go down until Burr, bloodied and berserk, leapt off the rhino's own kneecap, flipped into the air and plunged a dagger straight through the horned brute's face. The golden horn cracked, the rhino collapsed. The forest fell silent for 2 seconds. Then came the dog. The paladin's glowing canine companion wasn't done, nor was the paladin, whose shield blocked most magical effects while his floating spirit form threw radiant death from above. Shalangelo took brutal hits. Arya healed them. Torvin got burnt by his own silver sword. Burr, still stabbing anything that moved. A wild magic surge triggered teleportation. Axes flew. Healing spells burned out. Bardic inspiration got passed around like trail mix at a campfire of chaos. By the end, the paladin was still standing, but barely. The paladin, now angry, summoned a meteor from the heavens. Did the party panic? Yes. Did they dodge it with stunning acrobatic rolls? Also yes. A foggy forest full of flips and near-death twirls, pure cinematic brilliance. And the paladin was gone. The loot? A high-quality, gold-inlaid suit of armour. A massive hammer. And the magical horn itself, still intact, and probably cursed, but who cares. Also the gold a bit melted from Torvin's acid breath. Burr called dibs on the armour. Torvin eyed the horn. Arya said, "We're gonna offer it to the dragon," taking it for herself. And then came the guard, a scared, knife-wielding kid who'd been charmed during the fight. He stumbled back to the scene, inspired by the group's violence and power. They adopted him. They named him Phoenix, reborn from fear and failure. Arya became his mother and declared he would learn magic. A wizard was born, probably. They returned to the Dragon Temple, presented the golden horn as proof of victory, and were granted shelter in de-decorated honeymoon huts, some bread and fruit. Arya tried to borrow a book. The flower girl said no. She was instead guided into an ancient metal-floored vault of knowledge carved deep into the earth. Scrolls, old tomes, even the air smelled like secrets. And yet, she was given the magical equivalent of magic for toddlers. Beginner's Magic 101 would be handy for Phoenix to read, and Arya promised to return it, but promises are meant to be broken, right? Then came the big decision. Arya meditated to get inside the paladin's smug mind and rolled high enough to feel the divine judgment. He was coming for them in 2 days. Path 1. Safer, well known, but likely where the paladin would expect them. Path 2. Harsher, deeper into the mountains, full of rumours about abominable snowmen. Naturally they chose Path 2, but not before faking a trail down Path 1, using literal chunks of rhino flesh to sell the lie, and created just enough footprints to say we were here before vanishing. With blankets wrapped tight, food packed, the party trudged into the snowy peaks. Through fog and frost they travelled until the snow began to melt, and they stepped out into tall golden grass. Rocky fields stretched before them, chilly winds howled, the mountains faded behind. Ahead, the unknown. Phoenix walked behind, nose buried in his book. Zero perception. Torvin made sure he didn't trip and light something on fire. Arya climbed on Shalangelo's shell for a mobile trance nap. Burr scouted, muttered, probably ate raw vegetables. As night fell, they saw faint torchlight. Something or someone was ahead. Shalangelo, should we sneak up? Burr, already doing it. Arya is woken up early and not too happy about it, while Torvin debates hanging back. Plans were forming. Fires were lit. Phoenix was trying to cast prestidigitation with no actual magic yet. What will happen next?